Double check, make sure my mic is on. Okay. All right, Shalom. This is your brother Ywanathan. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Today, we're going to go into the fact that Esau has a captivity to go into according to biblical prophecy. Okay, so who is Esau? Now you have, there are people who do wicked things, like 2/3 of our people, they do wicked things. But then you have a nation in the scriptures who are referred to as the wicked. All right, so let's prove that. We'll go to Malachi 1, because we got to prove who we're talking about, right? The burden of the word, and this is 1 and 1, Malachi 1 and 1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. He's talking to Israelites. All right, that chosen seed line. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved. Hold on, in my app right now, it's cutting it off. Let me get the old reliable. Let me get this actual sword here. My Bible app, it cuts it out. I don't know why it does that. So just give me 1 second while I pull it up here in my actual Bible. It's Malachi 1 and 1. It says, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Now in the scriptures, it talks about Esau being, before his last rulership, it talks about him being bound. Okay? For a time period, for 1,000 years. So you talk about the Dark Ages, there was a time period where he was brought low. He was grunting in the mountains. Okay? So you get that caveman, image or depiction. That was them. Okay? But then it also talks about him being loose for a little season. So from the Renaissance period until now, this is the little season in which he has been loosed. And he's been doing what it was written for him to do. Because when the Lord returns, it's written that Esau Edom would be empowered. In conjunction with many other prophecies, like the mark of the beast, like World War III, which is going to be fought completely different than every other war before it, pursuant to Isaiah 95. Like us returning unto our heritage. All these things are going to be happening within the same time. So we know, with all these clues we've been given, and who's in rulership, okay, we're stepping into that time, and this man is the wicked, these are the Israelites, these are the nations. So, you got to be able to piece these things together. Now, back here in Malachi 1 and 4, it says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we return and build the desolate places. They were loose that little season, and they built up their kingdom, man. They built Europe back up. Even though we were empowering Europe during the Dark Ages, but they returned and they built up their kingdom. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Now let's go to, I'm going to get this in the G&T. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2. And I'll just start at verse 3. Okay, we still can, I like to I'm trying to start to really dive into the fact, structure my videos within who, when, why, where, so that there's a very thorough, I figure if you go through that kind of outline, you kind of touch all the bases on whatever topic you're going into. So right now I'm going to touch on the who. So we're going to continue to prove that there is a people that are called the wicked. Okay. And so let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. And this is in the GNT. Do not let anyone deceive you in any way, for the day will not come until the final rebellion takes place and the wicked one appears, whom is destined to hell. Hell and heaven are living conditions, guys. Okay, for those who are new tuning into it, there's no place where you burn and go to forever. All spirits returning to the Father, and the place of judgment is here upon the earth. I just did a lesson on it recently on my main page. Right now I'm on my backup page. I got a strike, so I'm out for a week. But just did a lesson on it on that main page, GMS Yuan, on reincarnation, regeneration in the scriptures. All right. Verse 4. He will oppose every so-called God or object of worship and will put himself above them all. But in the KJV, is basically saying he will put himself as the Most High. All right. When you read in the KJV, it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. He has a God complex. And it also talks about that God complex that he has in Isaiah, the 14th chapter. Isaiah 14 and 13. It says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also in the mountain of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Okay, so he has a God complex, and that's why you hear guys like Noah Harari, I'm probably saying his name wrong, step up and say, we don't need God. We could make our own water. Carl Schwab's guy. You hear them making these bold statements against the Heavenly Father. All right, they have this God complex. Let's go back to 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 4 in the GNT. Okay, it reads, he will oppose every so-called God or object of worship and will put himself above them all. He will even go and sit down in God's temple and claim to be God. Don't you remember I told you all this while I was with you? Yet there is something that keeps this from happening now. And you know what it is. At the proper time, prophecy has to be fulfilled. Then the wicked one will appear. Okay, he was already on the scene because the Romans were Edomites. The Greeks were Edomites. He was already on the scene during the time this letter was written. But it wasn't quite revealed that, okay, this is that wicked, you know what I mean, to the world. All right. Let me see here. Continuing on here in the GNT. Verse 6. Yet there is something that keeps this from happening now. And you know what it is. At the proper time, when the wicked one will appear. The mysteries of wickedness is already at work. Why? Because who was in rulership? But what is going to happen will not happen until the one who holds it back is taken out of the way. The wicked one will be revealed, but when the Lord Yahweh Shah comes, he will kill him and breathe from his mouth and from the chariots, that concentrated fire. You can read about that in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. Or is it the 13th chapter? Let me double check, guys. Let me double check, make sure. 2nd Ezra 16, or is it 13? Let me see here. Yeah, first is 2nd Ezra the 13th chapter, Salakia. 2nd Ezra the 13th chapter. All right, verse we're back here in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7 in the GNT. The mysteries of wickedness is already at work, but what is going to happen will not happen until the one who holds it back is taken out of the way. Then the wicked one will be revealed, but when the Lord Yahweh Shah comes, he will kill him and breathe from his mouth and destroy him with his dazzling presence. Verse 9, the point. The wicked one will come with the power of Satan and perform all kinds of false miracles and wonders. And a lot of that is going to tie into, you got Elon Musk, you got Neuralink, and his technology. They're trying to merge man with machine. A lot of false healings are going to come with that. They're going to say, hey, we healed this paraplegic man. we increased this person's intelligence. These people that were deaf, dumb, and blind, they now can communicate on a higher level with telepathy. They're gonna do a bunch of stuff with this technology that they have, and people are gonna look to this man as a god. Verse 10, and use every kind of wicked deceit on those who will perish. They will perish because they did not welcome and love the truth so as to be saved. All right, people are gonna look to him as their God. So the wicked in the scriptures is this man that is in rulership, trying to set himself up as the Most High. All right, and people have already been falling for his tricks heavy. Okay, just 4 years ago, when the plan, when C19 was going down, and people were taking those jabs, right? And this is not medical information, by the way. I got to say that for YouTube. When people were taking the hokey pokey, they were looking to that syringe as salvation. They were looking to that for peace and safety, and not Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so that is who the wicked is. And this nation of people is prophesied in the scriptures that they are going into captivity for all their wicked deeds. And even though when they're taken into captivity, they're not going to be in a repentant spirit. It talks about that in Revelation, the 9th chapter. So now let's talk about the wind. Okay, the wind is the beginning of this man's captivity. Well, it starts with the falling of his kingdom when Yahweh Shai returns. And I mentioned the chapter already. Let's actually go read it. I got my G&T on me, so let's just go through that. It's 2nd Ezra 13, and I'll just start here at the top. It says, the 7 days passed, and the following night I had a dream. In my dream, I saw wind coming up out of the sea and stirring up great waves. As I watched the wind with it out of the sea, what looked like a man. This is Yahweh Shai coming. This is when that angelic invasion takes place. Okay? A man, and he was flying on the clouds, on his chariot, the so-called UFOs, but we know them to be the chariots of the Most High. They're explained and elaborated on in Ezekiel, the 1st chapter. When he turned his face, everything he looked at began to tremble. And when he spoke, everyone who heard his voice melted like wax in a fire. Now, when it's saying when he spoke, it's talking about the concentrated fire coming out of the chariots, out of the fathership. So we always mention that the nuclear missiles are going to be burning this place up. But not only the missiles, the chariots. And that's going to be the Lord flexing that, his technology, his weaponry, his sword far outdoes anything this devil could come up with. Okay, because his blessing is the sword. And who gave him the blessing of the sword? Who gave Esau that blessing? Isaac. Which, if you can receive it in a regeneration, that was Yahweh Shai. That was one of his carnations. All right? So he gave it to him, but he's also going to take it away. Let's continue on here. Verse 5 in the G&T, 2nd Ezra 13 and 5. I looked again and saw a crowd too large to count. This is that great army, that great compilation of armies gathered in the Valley of Yahweh Shaphat that you can read about in Joel, the 3rd chapter. Okay, and they're going to stop fighting each other, and they're going to try to turn to fight the Most High Son. And let's see how this turns out for them. All right? Right here in the middle of 5. They were people gathered together from all parts of the world to fight against the man whom had come out of the sea. Then I watched the man carve out a high mountain and fly upon it, that big fathership. I tried to see the place or the region from which the mountain was carved, but I couldn't. It was too big. The chariot was too big to see the end of. Ezra is witnessing all this, man. This is amazing. Then I saw that all the people who had come together to make war against him were terrified. They were shitting bricks. But the Lord's going to put the spirit on them to fight anyway. Right? Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? But they still prepared to fight him. When the man saw the great crowd advancing to attack him, he did not take up any weapons. In the KJV, this reads a little bit better because it illustrates, he says, he neither lifted up hand nor sword, to show you the effortlessness that it's going to take our big brother Yahweh Shai to completely dismantle the armies of the earth. is showing you that wide gap in power. Okay? Verse 7 again, Salakia. I tried to see the place or region from which the mountain was carved, but I couldn't. Then I saw all the people who had come together to make war against him were terrified, but they still prepared to fight him. When the man saw the great crowd advancing to attack him, he did not take up any weapons. The only thing I saw was what looked like a stream of fire coming out of his mouth, out of the chariot. He sent a flaming wind from his lips and a storm of sparks from his tongue. The stream of fire, the flaming wind, and the great storm combined and swept down on the crowd that was coming to attack him and burned them all up in a single moment, that the crowd, too large to count, vanished. And there was nothing left but powdery ashes and the smell of smoke. I was shocked when I saw what happened. Okay, so this side is going to unfold for all the nations of the earth. So this is the beginning of the casting down of Esau's kingdom and the beginning of our kingdom to come. Now, once that takes place, there's going to be a crowning ceremony of the elect, those who stood stiffly for the name of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. But we're going to be given an inheritance. All right? And what is a part of that inheritance that we're going to be given? Let's go to Psalms 2 and start at verse 7. Okay? I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son, this day I have begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. All right, the heathen is going to be given to us as an inheritance, as a possession. The same way it talks about in Isaiah 14. All right. And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Okay, so this is a part of, our starter package. When we receive our new bodies and we're given dominion over the earth to get rule alongside Yahweh Shai. Right? Let's go to Revelation here. Okay. Revelation 13 and verse 9. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So captivity is something that's in their future. Okay? This is going to take place after the return of our Lord, man. And upon the establishment of the kingdom of heaven, it's going to be built up. Just like the Israelites, were in captivity under every nation. And we built up all these kingdoms and rulerships. We were the slaves within these empires. Okay? Not only is, Edom going to be our subjects, but all the nations, but the one at the very bottom is going to be Esau, Edom. Okay? It's written in the blessing going all the way back to Genesis that, our brother will be a servant unto us. Okay? So this is biblical prophecy. And that's when it's going to happen. All right, so the where, well, of course in Israel's going to be built back up, but all over the earth, okay, and abroad. The scriptures talk about, there are many mansions. We're not just going to be here on earth. We're going to expand, baby. It's going to be big. But we're going to start here on earth first. We're going to get this place cleaned up and in order. It's going to be a 1,000-year period. Okay? That's the where. It's going to be everywhere. And I'll touch a little bit back. Let's backtrack a little bit. Let's go back on the when. Because when you go to Obadiah, there is an end to their captivity. They're not just going to be slaves forever. They're not going to be under that harsh bondage forever. When you go to Obadiah, the Lord is going to give them mercy at the end of it all. A mercy killing. Okay, it's Obadiah 1. And you all know where I'm going. And 18. Actually, let me check out how this reads in the GNT, man. Let's check out how it reads. GNT. Let's go to the book of Obadiah, that one chapter that's addressed to the nation of Edom. Okay. Let's check it out in the GNT here. Bear with me, y'all. Let's see. Man. There we go. So this Obadiah 1 and 18. Is there a point I want to touch on before? Yeah, I'll just start at 15. It says that, and this is in the GNT, Obadiah 1 and 15. The day is near when I, the Lord, will judge all nations. All nations are going to be judged. All those nations that were confederate against us in Psalms 83, they're going to be judged. But there's specifically a quarrel with the nation of Edom. All right? The head tribe of Edom is Amalek, and the scripture said that the Lord will have that we will war with Amalek from generation to generation. All right? Verse 15. The day is near when I, the Lord, will judge all nations. Edom, what you have done will be done to you. Did not they take us into captivity? Did not they make us to serve with rigor? Did not they completely break us and separate us from our heritage and tear us down mentally and physically? These are things that are going to be done to them. This is justice. This is the Lord's justice. You will get back what you have given. And in Revelation, it talks about reward unto her double. So they're going to get they're going to get double, man. 1,000 years of captivity and twice as bad. With minus, the wicked practices that they practice on us, things that are against the law. Verse 16. My people have drunk a bitter cup of punishment on my sacred hill. But all the surrounding nations will drink a still more bitter cup of punishment. More bitter. They will drink it all and vanish away. All the other nations are going to continue on, but specifically Edom, after they serve their captivity, as we'll read, they're going to be cut out of the earth. Now, what the Lord will do with their spirits afterwards, if he wants to put it inside of another nation, who knows? But that nation is going to be cut out of the earth. Verse 17. But on the Mount Zion, some will escape, right, that remnant, and it will be a sacred place. The people of Jacob will possess the land that is theirs by right, all right, and not just that small portion of the land of Israel. When you read it in the promises, man, it's a much bigger piece of land than what they have over there today. They don't even got the whole thing. Verse 18. The people of Jacob and of Joseph will be like a fire. They will destroy the people of Esau as fire burns stubble. No descendant of Esau will survive. I, the Lord, have spoken. So this is prophecy, and it's mercy at the same time, man. Okay. The horrific captivity they're going to be in, the low level that they're going to be at, it's going to be a mercy killing. You understand? So I read that was another point in my head. I'm forgetting. It'll come back to me if it's supposed to. But this is the what's written for Esau. So this is a double down on the when. I touched on the where it's going to take place. And why is this important? Well, this is important because this is the justice that's going to play out. Because as things get bad here during Jacob's trouble, to somebody that's not in the know, it's going to seem like there's no escape. It's going to seem like things could never get to a place to where our people have rest. But those who are oppressing us and that seek to get rid of us, we win. It's going to look like they're winning for a while. But understand that we win. It's written for us. That we're going to get justice. We're going to be recompensed for all the evils that were done to us and our people. Okay, this is a part of the gospel. This is a part of the good news. Let me get that. That's Psalms 149. And we'll start at verse 5. And actually, let me get into GNT, man. This thing is bad. Psalms 149:5, huh? It reads, "Let God's people rejoice in their triumph and sing joyfully all night long. Let them shout aloud as they praise God with their sharp swords in their hands." Now, not only are the laws going to be written within our inward parts to judge, we're literally going to have a sword. We're going to have authority to judge because the laws are going to be written within our inward parts. So we're literally going to have a sword, and we're going to be like that two-edged sword ourselves. To defeat the nations and to punish the peoples, to bind their kings in chains, because this is what was done to us, their leaders in chains of iron, to punish the nations as God has commanded. This is the victory of God's people. This honor, in the KJV, it says to execute upon them the judgment written. It's written, right? This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. Okay? So, Abaratazah, the lesson was edifying. They got a captivity that they got to go into, and this is biblical prophecy. So, with that being said, I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.